Coming up live. 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk About Live on YouTube, podcast, Facebook, and Instagram. And some announcements I'd like to make to our viewers, subscribers, followers, and strangers and new people who are coming in. February is a special dedicated to everyone. It happens on Tuesday to Friday, 9 p.m. prime time Singapore and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time USA, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time USA, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time USA. And this special, the prolonged pandemic we hear you is dedicated to the mothers, the fathers, the mom and pop businesses, the teachers, students, workers, job seekers, people who are just counting the dollar in the wallet. So we hear your pain. It is into 2021, and it is into the second year of the prolonged pandemic. And as this drags on, even though we are told that it embraced the new normal, sometimes the pain gets into us. Because we can't do the things that we want to. We are adjusting our expectations, adjusting our lifestyle, recalibrating every step. And of course, social distancing. You miss interaction with your loved ones. You're literally just existing or subsisting. A lot of people aren't able to do what they really want to. So all the plans are being thrown off tangent in this pandemic. And according to the news, the Singapore Straits Times, a couple of days ago, it is said that the pandemic, looking at the rate of the vaccination, caveat, vaccinations are not 100%, but looking at the rate of vaccination that's being rolled out throughout the world, it may take 7 years before that form of pre-pandemic days will happen. So are we ready? Humanity, brothers and sisters, are we ready to bite the bullet for this prolonged pandemic? How are our lives going to change? Because we are really thinking of, at the end of 2021, things are going to go normal. But what if things are not going to go any normal at all? And according to predictions and forecasts, if this is going to go on 4 or 5 years and even up to 7 years, that what the papers are saying, then I think it's going to be not only a prolonged pandemic, it's a prolonged pain. So February special, live cast, YouTube on Talk About Live, Tiny Tunes, tinyurl.com/talkaboutlive that you can see the videos here with all the whole team of us from America, Mexico, Malaysia, and myself in Singapore. All the whole team of us. We're doing this show particularly for you, the people. And we want you to share the video, and we want you to write to me, either comment or write to talkaboutlive777 at gmail.com and tell us your pain, your hopes and aspirations, and how you are actually going through this very strange, difficult time for some of you, and tell us if you want to be on the show. So this show is dedicated to you, a month-long February special, Tuesday to Sunday, 9 p.m. Singapore prime time. You're inviting all these hosts of guests, excellent podcasters from the US, Mexico, Malaysia, and myself here in Singapore, to share with you news from the people for the people. And today we have Ben Kitchings of one of the huge podcasters, in the podcasting world in America, from the History Voyager. Now, a little bit about Ben. himself is a double master's degree historian. He's going to cut to the chase and tell us what's happening in America, the headlines and the bottom lines in America, and tell us what's troubling him, what keeps him up at night, and what does he foresee is going to happen with a new administration and new policies. And I want to ask him, what does he think about how long can Americans sustain in this prolonged pandemic regarding the people, the man in the street, the businesses in the street, the mom and pop stores? What happens to these people? And I'm not talking about hedge funds or those Fortune 500 or the Forbes companies. I'm not talking about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. I'm really talking about people in the street. And with a superpower from the US, we want to hear from someone who is there in America, not from the big media corporations, but a good podcaster who speaks his mind in total honesty to us and cut to the chase. Hi, Ben, how are you? Would you like to say hi to Singapore and the Asian region?
Oh, hi everybody. How are you all doing? My name is Ben Kitchings. I can't get the camera. I'm sorry, I can't get the camera on my face. You have a really good view of my door and my radio,
Yes, I see that. It's fine.
but I'm sorry.
We are
Uh,
really delved into America, so it's fine.
okay, so so how is America coming through the pandemic? Well, the money, you know, it hasn't it's been voted on by the Congress, but it hasn't filtered into the people yet. And with the last round of checks was $600, and $600 is that's not a lot of money. It's not a
Mm.
lot of money at all. Um, the average rent in this country, now this country is amazingly, it's huge, and the average rent in this country is $1,200.
Mm.
But the average rent in my city is significantly higher than that.
Mm.
So $600, that might get you a family of four. That might get you um, a couple trips to the grocery store. Maybe maybe some utility bills or some internet or cable bills or whatever. But it's not gonna do do for rent.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I see in my own world. I mean, just in my own what I can see in the world. I see a lot of people moving in with other people. Um,
Oh,
a lot of that.
wow.
Um, I don't. Here's my question, and it's a question I have. I don't have the answer to it. I wonder. I really wonder if that's going to continue. In other words, even after the pandemic is over, are these people going to? Did we get into this idea that okay, the idea that you have to live by yourself or live with maybe one other person, was that a stupid idea? I don't know. Let me give you an example of what I mean.
Yeah.
A lady on my podcast. I had a lady on my podcast, Cheryl Ring. She's a lawyer. She deals with tenants in America, renters, and
Renters.
she told me a statistic. Um, America, the U.S. has 30 before the pandemic had 34 vacant structures per homeless person in this country. That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
The
Okay.
vacant structures, what does that mean?
Like a vacant house. Nobody's
Oh, okay. For
nobody's
every homeless
for every
person. Yeah.
for every home not for every homeless family, for every homeless person.
Hmm.
There's a vacant house. There's an unoccupied house or an
Because
unoccupied
people can't
apartment.
afford to have a house.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when Obama was president, during the
Mm.
Obama presidency, um, some laws were passed that basically separated. Um, they essentially separated the housing market and the rental market from the law of supply and demand.
How is that?
Okay, so what they did was they said, um, if you are a real estate company or if you have apartments or condos or what have you, you if you don't rent to a person, don't you worry, don't you worry, the government will pay you. The US government will pay you. Now, what this means is in actual reality,
Mm-hmm.
we've okay, so the way it should work, let me tell you how it should work. If you have an apartment complex
Yeah,
and you're in a city,
yeah.
you charge a rent, and you got to make your money and you got to pay your people and sure, fine, whatever. All right, but in how this works is how it's supposed to work is if nobody will rent from you, you lower your rents. See,
Mm-hmm.
and you lower your rents until people. I think a friend of mine whose father was a
Mm.
managed apartments back in like 30, 20, or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
She said apartments like to stay 80% full.
Mm-hmm.
Apartments nowadays aren't anywhere near 80% full. They
Mm.
aren't anywhere close to it.
Yeah,
Number one.
yeah.
Number two, there's sort of this thought that I keep having that we're not going to go back to normal. We're going to have a new normal, whatever the new normal is.
Yeah.
We're not going to go back to normal. Um, I'll give you an example. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night actually about this. We were talking about how he's working from home and I'm doing I'm talking to you in Singapore. And what we were saying was, it's amazing how 5 or 10 years ago,
Yeah,
this was science fiction.
yeah.
Like, you
Living in
know?
a science fiction world.
Exactly.
We're living in a
Exactly.
twilight zone.
No, it is. It is. Um, Now, for example, okay, so I'm wondering if really what's happening, are we trying to find the new the new reality, the new way this is going to work, the new
A new reality that works for us, for humanity. Yeah, we're trying to feel the way
exactly,
that, how
exactly.
humanity is going to feel its way for a new kind of reality. You were talking about the rental, right? One homeless person, you've got about 34 empty units. And so now, like what you say, people are moving with their friends because they can't afford rent anymore. And that's going to be like the new reality because jobs are going to be lost forever.
There, I talk about it in a podcast I haven't released yet.
Mhm.
Um, there's actually a man that I talked to. Um, I'm not going to tell you who he was because I don't want to embarrass him, but there's a man I talked to for my podcast, and then off air, because I have to, when you I have to, the thing has to download, so we have to sit together off air and wait for it to
Yeah,
download. He was telling me about he was a well, I'm not going to tell you his job because I'd give away who he was, but he could talk about how he could come out of his house every day, every single day,
yeah,
and everywhere he would drive in a day, right? For his daily life,
yeah.
he was seeing day to day the disintegration of his world. Like people falling down, buildings falling down,
Disintegrating of the cities,
and
of the towns.
exactly. and he was talking about how he threw out some statistic that he knew because of his job,
Mm.
where the number of people in his county,
Yeah.
wait, the number of prescriptions for pain meds in
Yeah.
his county
Yeah.
far outseated the number of people in his county.
Wow.
It was like triple. It was like triple the number of prescriptions
Why? What
per
does it say?
person. That place hasn't had jobs in years. Years. People think America is this great big city on a hill or whatever, like this, this amazing first world country.
Mm-hmm.
And to some extent, it is in like the cities or in prosperous
Yeah.
small towns or whatever. But the fact is, in America, we don't have, I mean, we have like some degree of social welfare and some degree of socialized medicine, but not like they do in France, not like they do in Germany, not like
Of
they do
course.
in, right. And so when this pandemic hit, there was a lot of people, I forget the number, but there was a graph of the unemployment, like the previous high in unemployment was like or it was like way above where the like our economy basically cratered in a year. Like
Trade.
we turned off. We literally flipped a switch and
Wow.
turned off the economy. And the president at the time, and you can go on my podcast and hear me talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought, I really thought the
Yeah.
government was going to have to come in and pay everybody to sit at home and pay
Yeah.
everybody to whatever. And I really thought it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think there was like a moment or whatever, but through the time, I was like, yeah, this is not happening. This is not going to happen. And here we are with the vaccine.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Um, so I live, so the United States of America. So we have 50 states.
Yeah.
I live in a state called Georgia.
Yeah.
Now
Georgia.
Georgia has about 11 million people, 11 or 12 million people. In my city, where not my city, but my metropolitan area, it's all spread out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have 7 million people that live in my metropolitan area. So the whole rest of the state has 4 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For some reason, for reasons I'm not entirely sure of, the previous president over delivered the vaccine. He over delivered the vaccine to the rural places in my
Mm.
state. So you can be like, I have cousins
Yeah.
that live in the rural parts of Georgia that
Yeah.
literally just they walk in, hey, I want a vaccine. Here's a vaccine,
Oh,
right?
okay.
There's no appointment. There's none of that. There's nothing.
It's already it's over delivered. The supply is just too much in certain places. It's not a good logistical distribution, you're saying. Okay.
Exactly. Now you
Okay.
look at where I live.
Yeah.
We haven't had a vaccine, and they're doing it by like, if you're this kind of person or that kind of person, you can get it, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard somebody tell me that, like, if you're married to, uh, maybe that was just how it ended up for him, but it was like his wife is a nurse, and so he
Mm-hmm.
happened to be in the right place at the right time, and he got a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not really, like, when you go, okay, so in the morning when you get up, you have to get on the internet and you have to
Yeah.
look for, like, you have to, first of all, you have to see, can you even make an appointment? Does the website even load?
Okay,
Right?
you got to
Does
go
the
to a website to make an appointment for the vaccine.
but does the website even load? Right? Does it even work?
So it doesn't even load.
Because so many people are hitting that website.
Oh,
There's so
okay.
many people hitting it, the website might not even load. And
I see.
it isn't one website, right? It isn't
Yeah,
one website. It's so you have all these different businesses, some of them small businesses, some of them,
yeah,
major
yeah,
pharmaceutical things.
yeah,
You there?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, some of these major pharmaceutical things.
yeah,
And but so it's so crazy. It's literally so crazy.
yeah.
Um but in terms of our daily needs,
The daily
we're
needs.
f- we're fine. Like we in this house are
Okay,
fine.
okay.
But I have friends that have, I mean, just horrifying stories.
Like tell us.
I have a friend that doesn't know where his meals are coming from.
Say that again.
I have a friend who doesn't know where he's going to eat, doesn't know where his food is going to come from.
Because they don't have the money. They ran out of money.
He doesn't have the money. The only internet access he has is his phone.
Yeah.
And his kids, it's so crazy. So he's doing, his children are doing school from home.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a computer except his phone.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
well, right. And add to that, okay, add
Wow.
on top of that,
Yeah.
that like he was telling me a story about how he lives down south
Yeah.
by the Atlantic,
Yeah.
by the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
He was telling me like the food,
Yeah.
so their food came from South Carolina. Like the food that you would buy in the grocery store
From
comes
South
from
Carolina.
comes
Yeah.
from the next state over, which
Yeah.
isn't really that far,
Yeah.
right? It's literally like his doctor is in South Carolina or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not that far.
Yeah.
But South Carolina decided to keep the food
Oh no.
in South Carolina.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, okay. So and then that got, that got reset, that got fixed or whatever.
Yeah.
But he still doesn't have a job. He still doesn't
Yeah.
have.
No money, no job, and the children, no computer, using the
Yeah.
handphone to study, and the food is going to be cut from
Well,
South
so
Carolina.
and
That's what's happening to the people.
he's really worried. Well,
Yes,
the food now it comes in through Georgia because there was some.
comes from Georgia. Okay.
Well, now the food, I don't know exactly how it worked, but it was like there was a while there where, um, they thought it was going to be really bad, so they would do things like they would fix the supply lines to help out that state.
Yeah.
Like in my state, okay, so my state in this country we call it toilet paper. I don't know
Yeah.
what you call it in Singapore.
Toilet rolls.
Yeah. My state makes toilet paper for a
Yeah.
lot of the country.
Okay.
Okay. And the governor decided, because we were having major toilet paper shortages, right? Because
Shortages. Yes.
shortages of toilet paper. Because here's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
So most of the toilet paper in the US market is made for commercial use.
Commercial use.
If you're not using the commercial toilet paper,
Yeah.
right? Nobody's using it, right? So the governor decided he was going to, for a while, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was going to keep the toilet paper in Georgia. The,
So
the
other,
toilet,
so it's not going to be distributed to other states.
well, and again, I think they sort of fixed that a little bit, but
Okay.
because you can still go to the store and you can
Yeah,
there's still toilet paper shortages.
yeah.
Uh, it's really so everybody, virtually everybody I know has a story about how had to present an ID card to buy toilet paper in the
Wow.
store.
I better buy mine
Right.
quickly.
Well, but the other thing is like
Yeah,
um
yes,
the weird thing,
yeah,
I'm gonna tell your listeners or your viewers this. The weird thing about our pandemic,
yeah,
and okay, what's today? Today is where I am. Today is February 7th,
yeah,
2021
yeah,
at 8:24 in the morning.
yeah,
The weird thing is I can go meet people right now. I can leave this house,
yeah,
walk across the street right now,
yeah.
and my neighbor does not believe the pandemic is real.
They don't care about the pandemic.
It's not that they don't care about it, it's that they don't think it's real.
They don't think the pandemic is real. They don't think the virus is real. They think it's a hoax. They still think it's a hoax.
They
In
they
February 2021, they still do. Oh my God, I thought we had this conversation months ago.
and what's crazy? No, here's what's crazy.
Yeah,
And this is okay. I've talked to people all over
yeah,
this world.
yeah,
I've heard stories that are terrifying about viruses, about healthcare,
yeah,
about people having strokes, people, losing
yeah,
arms, all that.
yeah, paralyzed.
Exactly. If you're somebody that you still think this virus isn't real,
Yeah.
I I don't know how to talk to I don't know how to talk to that person.
And they are people still in within the community.
I I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to talk to that person
How do you
about
overcome that? Do you want to set a bomb?
just how do you. I don't understand. I don't. Like my my brother-in-law. He knows a lot of people that think it's all a hoax. Like he knows a lot of
They
people
still think it's a hoax.
that he think it's a hoax, and he's all on Facebook. He's all on Facebook trying to save his family, trying to save his friends, trying to save his community.
Yeah.
And more power to him, but I mean it's just to me
The community still doesn't believe it's real.
that's you couldn't have said I couldn't have said it better myself. They they still don't think it's real. Or they think like the vaccine, so they think that there's a microchip in the vaccine, and they think that oh oh they think there's a microchip in the vaccine,
So they
and
don't want the vaccine.
right, exactly. Or Bill Gates, or who is it?
Bill Gates, yes.
Is it Bill Gates, or
They thought
he's
that
like
he's yeah, they thought that he's the one with who has all this um uh I mean they really thought that he's the mastermind of the whole pandemic.
I don't understand. People. But I mean, the thing that strikes me the most about
Mhm.
the pandemic, or not the medical side, but like the
Yeah,
social side,
yeah,
is how unequal it is. Like not even in the same neighborhood, like on the same street.
yeah,
It's unequal. It's You can have a house
yeah,
and you can be safe
yeah,
and cold and cool and dry and warm,
yeah.
and your next door neighbor, they don't know what to do. They're whatever. Uh,
So can I say that let's rewind a little bit, Ben. If these people, even in your same neighborhood, they think that this virus is a hoax, the whole situation is a hoax. Does that go to mean that they don't take the precaution, they don't wear the mask, they don't do social distancing, and they could possibly be the people who are the super spreaders? They don't even know it because most people are
I'm
asymptomatic.
Yeah, I've got a neighbor,
Yeah,
same neighbor. Um, back when he was his wife is very sick.
Yeah.
Um, so I think he's home now. But back
Yeah.
when he was working,
Yeah.
he was an electrician, and he was going all over the place, all over the state, all
Yeah.
over the South,
And
all over the
he's
country.
positive. He's positive.
I don't think he's been tested because,
No, he's
again,
positive. Is he positive? Is he
I don't
tested positive?
I don't think he's been tested
Yeah.
because, again, he thinks
It's a hoax.
it's a hoax. He think like literally what he actually believes.
Yeah.
Please try not to laugh.
Yeah.
What he actually believes is that the Democratic Party, Hollywood, and Amazon got together and they're killing small businesses. That's what he actually believes.
Okay.
And he'll
Oh, I see. He thinks that the businesses are closed now because of Hollywood and Amazon,
and
which,
the Democratic Party, exactly, and
okay,
right, exactly. And meanwhile, you're just over here like, okay, sure.
sure.
Try not to, but
I know. How do you live? Can I have a question? Now you've got this dichotomy, right? That this big divide, this big um, division, like we have already spoken about like months ago on your show. And it's still with the change of the administration, with the change of the tonality of a leadership of the CEO of the United States of America. Now, these people's mindsets have not changed. How do you live with these people who are around you? I mean, you kind of like accepted them, right? You say, okay, they're my neighbors, they're in my neighborhood. I just kind of like shut up and I just live my life. But how do you actually feel, and how do other people feel about this big division?
well, I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I don't. In terms of my daily interaction with him, it's fine. But in terms of like, if I think about how the world's going to go, like how
you're gonna
my
go.
country is going to
Yeah,
go down through time with this,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, I might have told you this, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you this again.
yeah.
Um, I've dealt with demographic data, dealing with America for, let me think, what year is this? Maybe
2021,
24, maybe 24 years at this point.
24 years.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I don't remember, but right, right now it's early in the morning. Sorry, it's
I
early in the
know.
morning where I am, but I've dealt with this for a lot of years.
Mm,
A lot of my life.
yeah.
America, all of my adult life,
Hmm.
has been a country dividing itself.
Mm,
Okay. Um, and I don't know how much longer we can do that and still
wow.
be a country.
I know. It's so real now.
I don't if you can't even look at a virus
Yeah,
and see the same thing,
yeah.
if you can't even, like, we had an attack on the Capitol,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you can't even have an attack on the Capitol and you can't even look at that and say what that was
Yeah,
and agree
yeah,
what that was,
yeah,
if you can't even do that, and these people, a lot of them are not stupid,
yeah,
a lot of them are not crazy,
yeah.
they're just, what it, if I
They're
had to
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
what it boils down to is they just do not wish to live in a multicultural society,
Mm,
or um it's almost like society got too complex.
mm,
But I don't mean that to say like they're stupid or whatever. They just don't want to. I don't know. I don't know how exactly to say it, but what I'm saying is, you're asking me what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is, if you can't even agree with me,
Yeah.
or
About
if
the
we can't
virus.
agree that about a virus or whatever,
Yeah.
then how much longer are we going to be a country?
Yeah.
Because the founding fathers,
Yeah.
our founding fathers,
Yeah.
wanted people to be educated
Yeah.
and to have agree with a set of facts.
Yeah.
And from that have political positions. But if you can't even do that, I don't know.
Yeah. I want to ask Ben, how would you characterize what's going through? Like you said, there's such a big divide, and America's like so torn, and plus the fact that the pandemic is making things so complicated. And if indeed what the scientists and the forecasters say that the pandemic is going to take 4 years, 5 years, or even up to 7 years to return to the pre-pandemic normal life. I'm talking about just life. I'm not even talking about business or economy. If people are going to be able to take down the mask throughout the whole world, if let's say it's just going to go to like 5 years or 7 years, and this has, and we already see that in the last 12 months it has impact on the economy. Companies are closed, people are not going out, people are not consuming, there are no jobs, and most of the jobs are going to be lost forever. How do you think, like in America right now, like in the place where you are in Georgia, how do you foresee the world is going to be, your world is going to be?
Well, I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
When okay, 2008
Yeah.
was the housing
The
crash
subprime prices.
of 2008.
Yeah.
Um, before 2008, so like in 2006, there were there was a whole class of restaurants
Yeah.
that don't exist anymore.
Mm.
There's a whole layer of
Of,
restaurants that just don't exist anymore.
yeah. And
There's a
workers,
whole
that whole industry is gone.
right. So like, or maybe there's like one or two of those restaurants left,
Yeah.
but like there was a whole
Layer.
layer that just
Yeah.
basically disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, in my own city,
Mm-hmm.
from 2008, the rental market.
Yeah.
So there, a lot of these houses become. Here's something really weird. Here's something bizarre.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to rent an entire house in
Yeah.
my city
Yeah.
than a one bedroom apartment.
Hmm.
That's totally strange. I
Strange. Yeah.
okay. So when I hear the phrase in 7 years it's going to go back to normal, in 5 years, no, nothing is going to go back to normal.
Wow.
It's going to change and people will adapt,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I hesitate to use the word normal. I'll give you an example. What we're doing right now, right?
Yeah.
What we're doing right now, 5 years ago, I don't know that we would have been
Science
able to.
fiction.
I don't know that we would have been able to do that. All
We're in
right.
a twilight zone.
So I have So I have a lot of buddies
Yeah.
that, a lot of friends, a lot of
Yeah.
family who tell me that the boss wants me to come into the job
Yeah.
because we're paying a lease on this building. Okay. So we can do the work from home,
Yeah.
but I'm leasing this building, so we're going to use the building.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point that's going to stop.
Mm.
I don't know when that's going to stop. I don't have a magical day for
Yeah.
you. But at
Somehow
some point,
yeah, somehow everything is going to go to digital, and people's going to work from their homes, and that impacts on the commercial rental market too. It's going to come down.
Exactly. The commercial real estate market is going to crash.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah,
here
to
to
think
tell.
about that.
I'm
Yeah,
here to tell you the commercial real estate market in this country is going to crash.
it's going to
I
crash.
don't have a day. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it will. I promise you, it will.
Mm.
I wonder. Okay, here's another thing that used to
Yeah.
go on that doesn't go on anymore.
Mm.
And again, I'm drawing parallels to 2008
Yeah.
because,
Because you're a historian.
well, because I'm trying to show you that when we say normal,
Yeah.
what we mean is that we adjusted
Yeah. Adjust
psychologically.
it.
We adjusted psychologically
Adjust
to
psychologically.
the reality. It's not
Yeah.
like it goes back because
Yeah.
it doesn't go back.
Doesn't go back. Okay.
We used to be when I grew up, when I was a kid and I grew up, all of my friends,
Yeah.
every single friend I had
Yeah.
wanted to go somewhere. They wanted to go out and do things and get in their car and go somewhere. It wasn't necessarily to somewhere amazing.
Yeah.
It was just somewhere not their bedroom.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. And it didn't happen before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And now that you have faster internet and better, and there's, you know, it's like I make a joke out of it, but
Yeah. Tell me.
I feel like there was a moment on Twitter
Mm.
where people started talking,
Mm.
like people started communicating
Yeah.
with each other on Twitter.
Yeah.
And once you start looking at these avatars in your phone
Yeah.
as other people and you start talking to
Yeah.
them and you start asking each other questions,
Yeah.
that changes things.
Mm.
And like, I'll give you an example in my own life.
Yeah.
I've talked to you more than I've talked to somebody two doors down. Okay? And you're across the planet.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Across the
You see,
planet.
you see what
I
I'm
like
saying?
that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you see
I think you put
how
that in the right perspective. The life
do
is
you,
not going back to before because people like us, we are talking much more and deeper and we are connecting much more across the planet.
we're doing it across a planet?
Yeah.
And you know, and here's the other thing. And this is something, okay, we've been ordering groceries over the internet
Yes.
since
So a year. Yeah.
for about a year.
I've been doing that. Yeah.
And I tell you, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if, you know, and
Yeah.
so if you're able to work from home,
Yeah.
if you're able to get your socialization
Yeah.
from the computer or from people you live with,
Yeah.
that's one thing I really worry about.
Yeah.
I actually worry about is like I know drugstores are going to still be with us, right?
Yeah.
I know the grocery stores are still basically going to be with us basically.
Yeah.
Eventually restaurants are probably going to come back, but here's what's not going to come back.
Mm.
The movies.
The movies. Yeah. The
Movie
theaters.
theaters are not going to come back.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're not.
True. True.
The mall, malls in terms of like places to.
Malls are closing down
Thank you.
faster than
Yeah.
before. Before the pre-pandemic days, they were already closing. So now with the pandemic, they comes they're totally shut. All the
Yeah, yeah.
retailers and you're right to say that layer of that industry is gonna be gone, gone, gone.
And
Period.
eventually, okay, yeah, eventually something will replace it.
Yeah.
But in terms of a person's life, you're talking, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'll tell you another thing that I think a lot about.
Yeah. Tell me.
Um, education in my
Education. Yes.
country is higher education, what we call college,
Yeah.
is going to change.
Tell us.
Well, okay, I lived in dorms. I lived in dormitories um in college.
The dorms.
And
Mm.
if you're a guy living in a
Yeah.
dorm, that's not a very sanitary, not a very sanitary place.
Yeah.
Um I'm wondering if that's going to how that's going to survive.
Mm.
How dorms in this how the residential student in this country, how
Yeah.
or even how, okay,
It may not exist anymore. Yeah.
so, something is going to change out of that. I
Yeah. Yeah.
guarantee you.
Wow.
Or okay, here's another one. I've got
That's
right
gonna change.
across the road.
Hmm.
I've got these neighbors. I think between the three of them, they are the only employed people they know because they have I used to know the people that lived in that house
Yeah.
before they moved in there. So they have a big basement. They have a
A
big
basement.
basement. They've got a whole lot of people living in that house.
Wow.
They've got, and they're all friends. Like they're all
Yeah.
some kind of connection.
Yeah.
There's all like,
Family.
family, friends. I'm not sure what it
Yeah.
is, but because they're Russian,
Okay.
they
Okay.
don't, English is not their first
Yeah. Okay.
language.
Okay.
So, but I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm looking at how they're interacting
Yeah.
and I'm going, I don't know that they want to go back. I'm sure they all want to have jobs and whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't know that they would want to go back to before,
Mm.
like to where they're living, off in their own little families or whatever,
Yeah.
however they did it. I
Yeah.
don't know that they want to do that.
Yeah. Why is that so?
In okay, so I should tell you, in America,
Yeah.
in the U.S., I don't know
Yeah.
how they do it in Singapore,
Yeah.
but in the U.S., the deal is that you got your own place and you live by
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
or you live with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or
Yeah.
whatever, and your little kids, but it wasn't like you didn't have um extended family, right,
Mm.
living with you. Now that's
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Historically, that was new, right?
Yeah.
That um my dad, my father,
Mm-hmm.
he grew up, his father
Mm-hmm.
was a farmer. He was an electrician with a railroad and he was a farmer. And his father grew up in a house that was
Mm-hmm.
probably not even, well, nowhere near half the size of this house.
Mm.
Okay. Um, Maybe a lot less than half the size.
Yeah.
But there was 13 people living in this house.
13 people living in this particular house across the street.
No, 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 no. Back in my father's day, in
Oh,
my
okay, in the Father's
father's
Day. Yeah.
in my father's day, there was
Yeah.
13 people
Yeah. Living
living
in the
in a
same house.
house,
Those
in a
days.
farmhouse.
Yeah.
So that's new in this country that we're supposed to get our family and live in this house
Mm.
by just by our own family. That's new.
Mm.
I'm wondering if that's going to come back. I really am.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's going to come back.
As a
And
new normal.
I'm also thinking that
Yeah.
maybe it's a good thing that it goes away.
Mm.
Maybe that's a good thing that it goes away because, you know, I don't know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Unspoken. Yes.
What'd you say?
No, I understand you. It's unspoken. If you've got a, like what you say, people um have too many people. You're looking at what's happening now that's mirroring what happened in your grandfather's day, because you've got so many people living in the same household, and all these people probably lose their jobs or they couldn't get jobs, and after a while they don't want to get jobs. They're so comfortable in not
Well,
getting
no,
jobs.
it's not that they don't want to get jobs, it's that they don't want to. In America,
Yeah.
housing is expensive. I
Mm,
mean, in America, housing is really expensive.
it's expensive.
And that's what I'm wondering is if maybe if they put their money towards other things, if they could live with some people,
Yeah.
but put that money towards other stuff, how would that
Okay.
change?
Yes. Yes.
Because do you see what I'm saying? So it's not that they don't want it. It's not that they don't want a job. It's that
Yeah.
they're thinking, why was I living by myself?
Yeah.
Or why was I only living with this other person?
Yeah.
You see?
So, yeah. So, can I say that, Ben, what you're saying is that all these little examples that you mentioned, they will
Yeah.
form the symptom of the larger picture of the direction of the country is going. It's going to change the whole demographic and physiological graphic of our country, and
It's
it's
going to
going to
change
change
everything.
the fabric, because people are going to change in their way of life.
I would think. I mean, I would think so, and I also think so. One of the things that I talk to when I talk to folks all over the world,
Yeah.
the thing I notice when I talk to people all over the world is all these other countries. A lot of them, the government is saying, well,
Yeah.
we're going to put high speed internet into, into the rural areas, and
Mm,
we're not really doing that in this country. We're not really doing that as much.
mm,
And I wonder if you're going to get, first of all, I wonder if that happened,
yeah.
would you then get like a spreading out? Because there's a lot of, I mean, this country is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
The people
This
are
is a
all spread
huge
out.
country.
Yeah.
But like we only have, let me remember, I think like 80% of the people, 80
Yeah.
or 90% of the people in
Yeah.
this country are in
Yeah.
130 counties.
Yeah.
130 counties is not a lot of counties.
Mm,
So if you think about, um, so like where I live, like I said,
mm,
um, I live in, so there's 11, 12 million people in Georgia, somewhere like that.
mm-hmm.
So say you have 7 million people in metro Atlanta,
Yeah.
that's 13 counties. That's 13 counties. And most of that 7 million is in 5 counties. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're really, really spread out.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the pandemic is going to cause people to say we need fast internet going everywhere so we can spread out.
Mm, mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
we can go to that guy and, that guy who told me about his town that was dying, his world that was dying. Maybe they can go there and fix it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if they don't, right? I mean, that's going to spread.
Yeah. 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 And of course, can I also say that, just to dovetail what you say, because it's so spread out, and plus there's pandemic, and the economy is really suffering, and it prolongs a little bit longer, like what you just said, the deterioration of places is going to happen. There's further acceleration of losses of real economy. Can I say that?
Yeah. Yes, you can. That's a fair statement.
Mm, wow. I want to ask you before you go. We've got such a wonderful time that we spoke. It's already 53 minutes. I got you, but I'm not going to let you go, Ben. I want you to explain to us Ladies and gentlemen who's tuning in, the listeners and followers, we're now in a show, February special, the prolonged pandemic. We hear you, and Ben Kitchens of the History Voyager podcast. He's sharing with us his comments about what's happening around him and what he foresee in his own, his own opinion, what he foresee may happen, or his fears that these are the things that may happen. So we are here in the show today. It's Ben Kitchens on Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Singapore prime time, 8 a.m. American Standard Time, 7 a.m. American Central Eastern Time. The show is called According to History because Ben is a double master's degree holder. He's a historian. He refers to a lot of events in the past. He uses that as a barometer that what's going to happen. And we need historians right now because, if the future is going to be any reflection of what's going to be, even though the pandemic is a really strange phenomenon, it has to be based on some kind of prediction, some kind of measure, or some kind of a barometer. So he's shared with us about 2008, the subprime crisis, and the whole industry that actually was wiped out, and the jobs were wiped out during that time that never came back. So Ben, I would like you to take another 5 minutes. I've got a question for you, Ben.
Okay.
For the final 5 minutes, I would like to ask you, as an American right now, living where you are and having all these news that comes upon you, and these news are very divergent, right? Because America, you've got different kinds of big, mega media conglomerate out there, and you are like being pulled one opinion to another opinion, etc., etc., etc. Do you feel America is going through some form of identity crisis and some form of a trauma?
Yes, absolutely. I think America is looking at itself and okay, I can talk to somebody in Canada and they can tell me about how they had to go to the doctor and for something serious, and they paid for I think he said they paid for the Uber ride there, and that was it. I mean, nothing.
Tell us again. What's that?
So I can talk to a guy in Canada,
Yeah.
and he told me about he had a serious medical condition. It was a
Medical condition. Okay.
serious medical
Yeah.
condition. And he told me like he paid for the Uber ride there, and that was it.
Oh, he only paid for the Uber ride.
There, and that was it.
That was it. The rest of it is taken
right.
care of.
And in this country, it's like we have, if you don't have insurance, you're, and that's something else I didn't tell you.
Insurance.
Your your insurance is tied to your job in this country, and so a lot of people when they were kicked out of their job, they were kicked off their insurance. A lot of people.
If they don't have a job, they don't have insurance.
Exactly. A lot of people.
Yeah.
But so you asked me, I think that's part of it is we're all looking at our country and it's the country we want to live in.
Yeah.
And like that, it's not, I mean, the temptation would be to think, well, it's a north-south thing or east-west. It's not. It's urban-rural. It's an urban-rural divide.
It's urban-rural places that's suffering.
Well, no, it's the urban-rural divide of the country.
Oh, the urban and the rural divide. Okay.
There's a divide.
Can you tell us statistically what is the population for the rural and the population for the urbans?
Well, I can tell you this. 80+%, so over 80%
Uh-huh.
of America lives within a planning commission. Now, let me tell you what a planning commission is. Okay.
Planning Commission.
A planning commission is so during Nixon,
Yeah.
during the Nixon administration,
Yeah.
the Nixon administration was the first administration, the
Mm-hmm.
first president in this country
Mm-hmm.
who looked at American cities and
Yeah.
who said, aha, American cities are a thing. They're they're more permanent. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a commission. We're going to create an authority
Yeah.
to distribute federal money
Yeah.
to this area. So I live in a planning commission.
Mm.
Um,
The money is going to go there.
so the money from for so the money from the federal government
Yeah.
goes to the ARC, the Atlanta
Okay.
Regional Commission.
I see.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. So about 80+%, and it could be into the 90s actually,
Yeah.
of America lives in a planning commission, lives
Planning
within a planning,
Commission.
lives on a planning commission.
Mm.
Um, the split, um,
Wow.
it's it's a lot more pronounced than that. If I had maps and stuff,
Yeah.
which I don't have, I mean, I could get them, but if I had,
Yeah.
it's pretty pronounced.
Yeah.
My county has about 1 million people
Yeah.
in my county.
Yeah.
So that's more than the whole state of Maine.
Yeah.
My county's bigger than several states, population wise.
Mm.
And it's growing. I live in a boom town. I don't know if you know that word, but I live in a town that's exploding in growth. It's
Exploding with?
in growth. The growth is explosive.
That means you're talking about growth in population or growth in economy?
Growth in population and in
Okay.
economy.
Okay, great.
Both.
Okay.
But that was before the pandemic. Nobody, I
Okay,
mean,
that's before the pandemic. So it kind of
I
makes
don't
sense.
really. I mean, I've got a buddy that he
Yeah.
works for the transit. He works for the Atlanta Transit people,
Mm.
and he says that there's a lot of data that shows that that a lot of people are moving into the Atlanta suburbs. So outside of the city proper,
Mhm.
like a lot of people, like a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Because we have hospitals,
Mm.
we have hospitals, we
The
have
infrastructure, yeah.
we have
Social
jobs,
infrastructure, yeah,
we have jobs, we have
yeah.
places to live.
So can I go back to the question as a, like the
Sure.
distribution? Like, so you're saying that 90% are in commissioned places, commissioned planning,
Live within a planning commission.
right? And which means that the taxes that's being collected from the big cities will
The taxes,
go into
so
the
the
planning, the planning commission places. Can I say that? To
so
build it up.
so what it means is like so what it means is so the ARC says the ARC is a community, like we're a
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
So the ARC says we need to have a highway, right?
Mm,
We need to have a highway, or we need to have
yeah. And
whatever else,
infrastructure. Yeah.
like whatever else. So
Yeah.
let's go to the government and let's go to the feds and say, or the state,
We need the money. Okay.
we need the money for this and that,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like 80 or 90% of the American people live within a planning commission.
So can I also so I'm going to hold you there because as a listener, I just trying to process what you're saying. Of course, in Singapore, we don't have that. We're just an island. Does it mean that in a planning commission, a place that is within the planning commission, they are called the rurals or the suburbs?
Well, so I live in suburban Atlanta. Suburban Atlanta is the part of Atlanta that I live in
Mhm.
is within the ARC, the Atlanta Regional Commission.
Mhm.
There's another planning commission called I forget. I don't remember. It has to
Mhm,
do with rivers. The name is
mm,
like somebody rivers or so many whatever it is.
mm, mm.
Um, that's rural. That's very rural.
Okay, those are really, really, really rural agricultural places.
Well, they're not agricultural. Well, they
Yeah,
are. I
yeah.
mean, okay, so I'll give you an example. Like
Mm,
my my dad's
yeah,
family,
yeah.
um the internet there is really slow, but it's not
Mm,
what you'd call rural. It's not what you'd call I mean it looks rural, but it's not really rural.
yeah.
It's not remote.
Okay, it's not remote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's rural, but it's not what you'd call remote.
Mm,
Like it's on the way to somewhere. You can
okay.
go places in this country
Yeah,
that are literally nowhere. It's literally not on the way to anywhere.
yeah,
Right? You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, but that's the difference.
yeah, yeah. So I think we've got you for over an hour. Ben, before you go, which we hope that you come back and you continue to tell us more about America, its history, and also what pains you as you read the news and what's happening, and also what you see for the future using your understanding of history. And also, I would like to know more about like tell us more about the demographics. Tell us more about this this big I should say the big reality check, or I should say the big
So, do you want me
dichotomy
to?
of America. Yeah, tell us that. And also, before you go, I hope that you come back and tell us the big question. Like what you say, America isn't what we see as an international people, what we see on like Bloomberg, because I tune into Bloomberg. I tune into the stocks. I tune into the
I watch
technology
Bloomberg.
news, and I tune into what Mark Zuckerberg is going to say and Elon Musk is going to say. But you will tell us, have a reality check, Vicky. Um, the whole of America is not made up of Elon Musk. The whole of America is not made up of the Kim Kardashian. Vicky, wake up. So, I hope that we can dive in there.
Uh,
For the next three more sessions, ladies and gentlemen who are tuning in, I would like to invite, this is his show, According to History, Ben Kitchens. 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. prime time Singapore. It is a show by Ben Kitchens for all of us here in this part of the world and in America. He's going to dissect America in any way he wants, geographical, historical, demographic, in any way he wants it. And of course, about the pandemic times. And of course, what he foresees is going to happen in a couple of years to come, according to history and according to Ben. So Ben, 30 seconds. Would you like to say goodbye and wrap up? I mean, I'm really so grateful to have you. It's such
Thank
a
you.
deep talk that we have, I'm waiting for you to dive in for the next three sessions on the Sunday. Ben, would you like to say something for the next 30 seconds before we lock off?
Yes. Um, you can listen to my podcast
Yep,
called The History Voyager.
yep.
Um, I'm going to be doing the tulip bubble, and I'm going to be doing the tulip bubble.
Tell
And
us, what do you mean by through a bubble?
the tulip bubble. The tulip bubble was a financial thing that happened in Holland
Oh,
where tulips got really expensive.
tulips bubble. I see. Wow, you're talking about economy.
Exactly.
Great.
And I was inspired to do this by the GameStop. Uh, I don't
Oh,
know
the
if you're
game
aware.
store, the
Yeah,
GameStop,
GameStop.
the
The
shares
GameStop.
that went up
Yeah, they went up and they went down.
and it
But I was
crashed.
inspired to do that because of that.
Okay,
And
great, great.
yeah, yeah. But I'm happy to do this. You said three more episodes. We can do it more than that if you want.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks a bunch. But yeah, listen to my right now. Oh, let me tell you, season one
Yeah.
was talked about COVID-19
Yeah.
and the Spanish flu pandemic in
Yes.
America. And season two was I was
Mhm.
interviewing people. I
Yeah.
interviewed you. I
You
interviewed
did.
lots.
You did.
Um, season two, and then season three. I'm gonna wrap up season two probably today,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna start in season three soon.
When it gonna? So today you're gonna wrap up season two. So when is season three gonna come back?
As soon as I can get up enough material for about 30 minutes an episode.
So how many
So,
months will? I mean, do you count by? Is there a standard time frame
oh,
for
oh, I'm
American
sorry. I'm
podcasters?
sorry. So season three, I'll probably start recording that later this week.
Okay, I see. I know what you mean. To me, it's more like a series. To you, it's like a season, right? Because I
Well,
call it.
each
I call it.
topic is a season. Each topic is a season. So
Oh, I see. Each topic is a season. Okay.
yeah, each
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
So with this, we're going to start off with the Ottoman Empire, and
Hmm.
I'm going to start off with the Ottoman Empire, which is fascinating. The Ottoman Empire is amazingly
What?
fascinating.
Okay. And I need to learn a bit more. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're already we already have a full hour or a little bit more, a full hour and 10 minutes with Ben from Georgia, United States. I mean, he is giving me a lot of education. I mean, I learn new things like the Planning Commission and some of the demographics, and also about what happened, about the case during the subprime crisis in 2008. This layer of industry is totally wiped off and they never came back, and this is going to happen for the pandemic. A layer of industry, a layer of work is going to go, it's just going to like poof and
Poof,
disappear. It's going to just go poof. So
poof.
guys, we are hearing you, we hear you. This show is dedicated to the people, and I want Ben to invite your listeners to tune in. And I also want the people in Asia, Singapore to tune in and to share this video, which has such tremendous education for all of us here. Because right now we need the education. More than ever, the world has become one. We are in the same destiny. And for all of us to go back to normal, we need the numbers from the US to come down.
Well, I mean, it's that's to me. I didn't even tell you this, or maybe I did.
Yeah, I know. We didn't even talk about the pandemic.
To
We,
me, the craziest thing is you have like it's bad. It's
yeah, it's
worse
bad.
now than it's ever been,
Oh my God.
and you
Okay, you know
still
what? I'm
have
just gonna hold you there because
okay.
I want the listeners and the followers, subscribers, and the viewers to tune in to Ben.
Next
Okay, so
week.
that's a cliffhanger there.
All right.
So you
Okay.
know what, Ben? We are gonna expect more from you, our
All right.
historian, right there in Georgia, United States of America. A lot of things that you have given us, a lot of case studies, what's happening in the neighborhood. That's what I'm looking for. What's happening in the neighborhood, what's happening across the street, what's happening with the neighbors. He told us everything. People are uh, moving in together to reduce rent, right? And the checks are not coming in yet. I mean, people are just counting the cents in the wallet. Am I right to say that?
Yeah. In some cases.
Yeah, I think yes, cases and
In
people
some
not
cases.
talking about it. So, you know what, Ben? I'm excited and I'm so thankful to have you on this team of international hosts for the show. The prolonged pandemic, we hear you, dedicated to the people. And I would like Ben to come back again next Sunday for the 3 more Sundays that we have him. So we're going to have our lesson of current affairs and history from Ben Kitchens of the History Voyager. Thank you so much. Can we give him a round of applause?
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much from Singapore, and a lot of love from this part of the world to America, a lot of love, care, and concern. And we pray that the numbers will come down, down, and down.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much, Ben. All right, I'm gonna see you.
You're welcome. See you later.
Yes, I'm gonna catch you, and you're not gonna run away. Okay, bye.
Bye bye. Are we off the air?